They are popular drag queens who are on a mission to spread love and connection across small-town America. And ABC News Live Prime anchor Linsey Davis sat down with the cast of We're Here.
When I say we're, you say here. We're here. We're here. And we're not going anywhere.
Even before you know another drag queen, is there already an assumption that their journey to this point has been a difficult one?
It's a good question. Wow, you are. This is why you do what you do. Okay, so 100%. A lot of times, as queer people or boys who are trying to find themselves and how to fit in, drag kind of becomes that gateway that you didn't even know was possible.
Give me your journey of how you found drag.
I would go out to the drag bars and you go watch drag and something happens to you. You're like, wow, I can finally afford to go see a pop star because those Beyonce tickets are very expensive. You fall in love with the queens. And then I watched a show called Drag Race for the first time and I discovered this queen on it named Sasha Velour. And I was like, she was on the first ever season of Drag Race I ever watched.
When you were just a little child.
When I was just a little baby.
Literally when I was a child, I was dressing up and playing with makeup and wanting to explore femininity. My mom hated makeup, didn't have heels, and I was desperately trying to find some. She had one pair of tap heels that I would put on, and then I'd have to tiptoe really quietly because she could hear this clunking metal through the floor. I wore a tea cozy as a wig on my head. Wow. I say that drag saved my life because I was so depressed, I was so lacking in self-confidence in myself. And drag helped me discover my own non-binary and gender fluid identity, that there's a life for people beyond these limiting boxes of male and female. That blew my mind.
It was kind of a complicated thing because with my father, we would talk about like what it was like for me to be gay, and he was like, "But promise me you won't come here dressed around the house as a girl." One time I got ready for drag and I was extremely sick, and it was like at the beginning of my drag career, and like he shaved my face for me and was like, "And this is how you've been doing it wrong," and like took care of me. It made me build a deeper relationship with my father and my family.
You all have kind of talked about a few common themes of being seen, acceptance, life-saving. Has it gotten better? And Latrice, I'll ask this to you first because you've been doing this for 30 years. Do you feel like it's easier now?
No, it's getting harder. It's getting way more difficult to just exist and be yourself, and it's scary. I don't want to go back 50, 60, 70 years, and thank goodness for shows like We're Here who sheds light on rural areas where it's not easy to exist in those kind of places.
Are there like a lot of other queer people?
We're here, but we're not vocal here. Does that make sense? We're all hiding.
What did you think about the backlash that's been happening against drag and, of course, against trans people?
I will say that I'm very scared. I'm not going to run from Tennessee, though, because that's what they want me to do.
We've been around forever, including in beautiful small towns in the middle of fields like the one where I grew up.
Talk to me about the significance of the title, We're Here, and why you feel that this show has the potential to be so impactful.
All four of us lived for 1 month in Tennessee, and then we lived for a month in Oklahoma, and although we were like, oh, wait a minute, we gotta like live, they're like, yeah, like you're gonna get coffee where people get coffee in small towns. We were there. We were like day to day when cameras were off. We held a meet and greet in a park, and it was very scary. Like the Facebook comments were like, 3 well-placed bullets will take care of this pedophile problem.
It's about us coming into a space and like trying to impact change. When we leave those spaces, then they have to live there and they have to continue leadership and try to build for the queer community.
At one point, it seemed like you all might be arrested.
Got an interesting call from our security team this morning, concerned that you might actually be under threat of getting arrested if we do this.
And that was wild. I think we looked extremely fabulous, and we should have been very much welcomed. But we were under a real threat of being arrested, and it's supposed to be the separation of church and state. which is very confusing.
A lot of us aren't exactly trying to be political, but if you're going to be arrested just for doing this, like that, it's instantly politicized. And I think for all of the people that we are encountering, queer people trying to exist all throughout the country, like their existence is political. Them continuing to live who they are, they'd have to go completely into hiding to not be seen as being political or perhaps threatening to some.
My take on it being gay is that it's a choice.
Really? No one would choose to be ostracized. It's always the people who have never met a drag queen, never been to a drag show, don't have a clue about the culture or what we do, that are passing these laws and legislations.
Often in these spaces, not only are the queer people scared, but when you come into these spaces where people are controlled, women are afraid, people who are disabled are afraid. The powers that would try to silence us are also trying to silence so many other people.
Yes.
Yep.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about drag queens?
Oh.
Everyone sexualizes drag.
Yes.
There's nothing sexual about what we're doing. There's so many layers of tights and foam rubber under here, like, ain't nothing sexy about that, baby. Let me just tell you. This is for pure delight and entertainment purposes. We bring joy and light to the world.
Tell me about the drag queen who was running for mayor.
That's your baby.
That's my drag baby.
When I was still running for an elected position in the county.
Running for
county mayor.
For county mayor.
Right. And I'd already had someone shoot a bullet through my house for being a gay drag queen running for office.
Do you think that you all change minds?
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And it's not about like full 360 change, it's just by just challenging some ideas when the same ideas are not being echoed back at you.
How can people be allies?
Just imagine you wake up out of bed and you don't have to care about what people think or what people think you have to do. I think like being an ally means giving us that freedom and also giving themselves that freedom.
Staying silent is not neutral in this moment, not up against lies.
Reach out to the people that you know who are queer. Just opening your mouth and talking is the first way to start for us to actually show support and for any change to actually happen.
I need you to show up and not just to talk about it. Don't be at the brunches and the kiki. I need you to show up at the polls and show us that you're allies and really help us with this.